Being a management consultant at Bain Company was my dream. For years, I did everything right. I networked relentlessly. I prepped cases till midnight every single night. I applied through every official channel. I did what you're supposed to do when you want something badly enough. I didn't get a single interview. So I went to grad school, regrouped, tried again. Different approach, same door. But again, I failed. I didn't land an interview. Then in 2015, I was moving from the US to India with no job lined up. And one day I came across this random job listing on the internet. It was a random website and a vague listing that said something like top tier consulting role. On paper, it made no sense to apply, but I felt sort of a pull, and so I applied. It turned out to be Bain Company, and it was the first time ever in their history they were hiring outside their traditional pipeline in India. That's how I got in. So here's a question I couldn't stop thinking about afterward. The goal was the same both times. So what was different? Because I've come to believe that the answer to that question is one of the most fascinating things I've discovered. And it has almost nothing to do with skill, strategy, or discipline. Stay with me. Before we go any further, I want to mention something. I've put together 2 free tools linked in the description below that I'll be using along the way in this video. One is a journaling practice to help you hear your intuition more loudly, and the other is called the No Choice Plan, which is an operating manual to rewire your autopilot system. And I know all of this sounds new right now, but download them and follow along in this video because I promise it will be worth it. Let's go. Here's what hustle culture actually sold to you. It's told you the harder you push, the faster you get there. That willpower is the currency of achievement. And that if you're not grinding, you're falling behind. And look, you can achieve that way. People do every day. I did for almost 2 decades. But watch what that cost actually is. Anxiety that doesn't turn off, a body running on empty, and decisions that are made from fear and not clarity. A life that looks like progress from the outside, but inside it feels like you're driving with the emergency brakes on. Does that sound familiar? Here's what nobody tells you. Using your conscious mind alone to achieve your goals is like using a tiny compass and sheer willpower to navigate the entire ocean to get to your goal, when there's a current that could actually take you there if you just notice it and ride along. That's if you know how to read it. Most people never learn to read it because it's never prioritized in schooling. And oftentimes we're moving too fast and too loud to even notice that it's there. There is a more intelligent way to operate. One that works with how reality actually unfolds rather than against it. One where what most people call luck starts showing up with surprising regularity. I know how that sounds, and I would have rolled my eyes on this 5 years ago, but stay with me. There is a system here, and I'm going to get to the neuroscience of it very soon. Back to my Bain story. What was different the second time around? The goal was identical. What changed was this. The first time, I was gripping so tightly to the goal and the plan to it that I didn't notice everything else around me. The second time, I still had the goal, but I had let go on the plan. Not given up, not gone passive, but let go of the specific plan in my head on how it's meant to happen. And the moment I did that, something shifted in how I was moving through this world. Here is a distinction I keep coming back to. There is a fundamental difference in forcing a fixed plan in your head onto reality and participating in the unfolding of reality. Most of us were taught to do the first thing. Build a plan, execute the plan, and if it's not working, push harder until it happens. But gripping one path makes you blind to better ones. Neurologically, when your brain is in stress mode, it narrows down what it can accept and receive. It narrows its field of attention. It scans for threats. It filters out the unexpected. It stops noticing the door that's open right beside you. When I was forcing the plan in my head, my brain was filtering for rejection. I was constantly comparing myself to everyone else around me and thinking, how am I ever going to get in? He sounds much smarter than me. She's more qualified than me. But the second time around, the vague listing with no company name on it that I applied to, in the first time, I would have never even registered it because it wasn't part of the plan. I wouldn't have noticed the opportunity even if it existed. And the second time around, when I got open, my brain was filtering for possibilities, and I was open and curious enough just to try it, to play with it. So how do you actually do this? What is the system of moving and participating with the unfolding of reality versus forcing a fixed plan from your mind? There are 4 steps to this, and by the end of this video, you will have a system you can start using today. Step 1, have a clear, inspired goal and hold it loosely. A clear, consistent goal is what programs everything that follows, but how you hold the goal matters as much as having it. Gripping a goal creates noise. It narrows your field of attention when you need it to be wide open. In both versions of my Bain story, the goal was identical, but how I held the goal was different. Hold the goal clearly. Keep your hands around the how loose. Step 2, filter your reality. Your brain is processing 11 million bits of information every single second. You are consciously aware of about 40 of them. The system that decides what makes the cut and what doesn't is called the reticular activation system, or the RAS, and it filters reality based on 2 inputs. First is your goal, and second is your dominant thinking and emotional state. So when you're in stress and threat mode, your RAS is constantly filtering for stress and threat. Every rejection confirms a narrative. Every setback becomes evidence. And your field of opportunities becomes narrow and narrower. You stop noticing opportunity because you're no longer tuned to the frequency of possibility. But the RAS can be tuned and it can be filtered. And when you do that, you will find a shift in opportunity. The right people will appear when you need them. The right opportunities will surface when you need them. And the right information shows up when you need it. This is not magic. This is your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. You just have to give it the right signal. You have to prep it. So there is a specific daily practice I do to help tune my RAS to filter for opportunities. It's a journaling practice called Empty Your Cup. And the way it works is that when you empty all the thinking and the spirals and the negative and useless thoughts that are in your mind, you finally have an open and receptive mind that can now notice opportunities in your surroundings. I've laid out the exact prompts and process in the PDF linked in the description below. It's a simple 5-minute practice that you can do daily to change and tune your RAS to possibilities. I've been doing it for years, and it's the single most consistent thing that has changed how I approach my goals. Grab it before you forget. Link in the description. So step 3 is letting your intuition guide you. Here's where it gets interesting. Intuition is your brain processing patterns at infinite speed, or let's say at a much faster speed than your conscious mind can. It's information, real valuable neurological information. The problem is that most of us are now tuned to listen to our thinking mind rather than our intuition. And our thinking mind just takes our past experiences and projects scary scenarios, which in turn then block your RAS from possibility. It's a negative spiral. So we need to switch back from taking orders from our intuition rather than from our thinking mind. And that's when the magic happens. So intuition only speaks when you're not thinking. When you're thinking, you are blocking your intuition. And when your intuition speaks, it sounds like a calm, soft suggestion. Something like, try this, or reach out. This is exactly what happened in the Bain story the second time around. Something in me said, apply. Just try and see what happens. And I did. Before my mind came up with the 14 reasons why I shouldn't. Oh, it's never going to work. Oh, this is a silly website. Why am I even wasting time on this? Etc., etc. You know how it works. The skill is not to silence those 14 reasons that your mind throws to not take that action, but rather to realize that it's actually old programming. Your mind and the thoughts and emotions it generates is a way of protecting old goals that your autopilot is tuned to protect. And it will do that no matter what. And this brings us to step 4, the one most people never reach. Step 4 is frictionless action. Here is a hidden reason why achieving feels so hard for most people, including myself 2 years ago. It's not lack of discipline. It's not lack of strategy. It's not even lack of willpower. It is that your mental operating system, or your mind OS, is running on autopilot and feeding you thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that no longer connect to your current goals. Think about it. Your autopilot was programmed in your childhood. It was programmed by your environment, by what you were rewarded for, what you were punished for. So things like you did a presentation in class that felt very nervous and everyone laughed. So your autopilot made a mental note to avoid presentations. Avoid embarrassing yourself. So your autopilot was programmed for most people to keep you safe, to protect your reputation, and to protect you from uncertainty. And all of those things are not useful when you're trying to achieve your bigger goals in adulthood, which is why every time you try and take action towards your new goals, you're held back and pulled back by a mind hijack. Your mind hijacks you with thoughts that are unhelpful or thoughts telling you that you will fail, overthinking spirals, anxiety, stress, you get the drill. And then what happens is you don't take action. And so your mental OS or your mind OS has successfully achieved its old goal of keeping you safe. Now imagine what would happen if you calibrate or tune this mind OS to your new goals. Now your new goals will feel inevitable, right? That is exactly what effortless action is. It's when the gap between intent and action has no friction. It becomes one. In Taoism, effortless action is known as Wu Wei. Csikszentmihalyi spent years studying it and called it flow. The same observation across cultures and generations. When you stop fighting yourself, action stops feeling like work and it feels like play. When action stops feeling like work, you move faster, you move further, you stop burning energy on the resistance and put it all into the path. And that is the final step in this 4-part system of how you can achieve an alignment with the universe and the reality that unfolds around you. And this is exactly why I built the No Choice Plan. It is a free guide linked in the description below, and it is essentially a rewiring operating manual for your autopilot. If you feel like you want to achieve your goal, but something keeps stopping you from achieving them, the No Choice Plans will help you rewire your autopilot system so that it's tuned to achieve your new goals. And so eventually, your new goals start feeling inevitable. And it does so by removing choice from the moment of action, which is why it's called the No Choice Plan. It's how you convert action towards your goals into effortless action by collapsing the space between intent and action. It's linked in the description below, right next to the journaling practice. Go and grab it now. So let's bring this back to where we started. Why did Bain come to me the moment I stopped forcing it? Because when I stopped gripping the plan, my RAS started tuning for possibility rather than threats. When I got present instead of anxious, my intuition was actually heard and followed without resistance. Because when I followed the irrational pull rather than dismissing it, I was moving with the current rather than against it. That path unfolded. I couldn't have planned it. I couldn't have forced it. I could only have participated in it. And that is the intelligent way to achieve. A lot of what looks like luck is the interaction between you and the reality that you're constantly creating. You cannot control everything. I get that. But you can stack up the odds significantly. The more you run the system, the more those serendipitous moments stop feeling like anomalies and they become the norm. Here are the 4 steps again. Number 1, hold a clear, consistent goal. Don't grip it. Hold the how loosely. 2, filter your reality. Tune your RAS to possibility. Keep it wide open. The journaling practice linked in the description below will help you do exactly that. 3, get present enough to hear your intuition. The same journaling practice will help you hear your intuition louder and louder. 4, remove the friction between intent and action. When your intuition guides, act before those 14 reasons your mind throws up, hijacks you and pulls you the other way. And that's where the No Choice Plan comes in helping you rewire your autopilot system so it's calibrated and tuned to achieve your new goals. Grab it from the description below. Both of these are completely free. This is not wishing and waiting, and this is not brute, unintelligent force that we normally use. This is the most intelligent way to achieve your goals. Think of a time when things fell into place in your life, when the right person appeared out of nowhere, or when you got that email out of nowhere, or when someone reached out to you when you really needed it. How did those things unfold? My guess, it started with a small pull you almost ignored. Start paying attention to those. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in learning about this full system with some guided experiments so that you can gather proof on how this new system works and try it out for yourself on your real goals, check out the 8-week email series linked in the description below. It's called Less Hustle. equals more success. If this landed for you, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.